There was blood smeared across the sliding doors when I got there, still fresh, and I swear it looked like someone tried to write a word, but the glass kept shuddering on its track. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I'd left the car running outside the supermarket, hazard lights blinking, the radio still hissing static over the warning message nobody wanted to believe. 30 minutes ago, I was counting my last crumpled bills, arguing with myself over whether to buy generic ibuprofen or just tough out the migraine that had been clawing at my skull for days. That was before my sister Jamie started texting. "Come quick. Something's wrong at the store." Jamie's 17, mouthy, and stubborn as hell. She works the express lane because she talks too fast for anyone else to keep up. And I'm all she has right now since Mom's gone and Dad can't keep a job. I'm supposed to be the grown-up. I'm 24, working night shift janitorial at the high school, saving for maybe a better place than the rented dump above the old vape shop. The fridge at home is empty, except for ketchup packets and a half-eaten yogurt that's probably walking on its own by now. Jamie needs me, and I need to know she's safe because that's the only thing that makes the rest of my mess tolerable. I slid my phone out, thumb trembling over the lock screen. Jamie's last text burned across the top. "Hurry." They're not right. The supermarket's automatic doors kept wheezing open and shut, letting out bursts of something sharp, metallic, sour, like rotten fruit and battery acid. I kept thinking about my stupid phobia of blood. Not squeamish, not just grossed out. No, the kind that makes my ears ring and my vision fuzz if I get too close. I pressed my sleeve to my nose and pushed through, wishing I was somewhere else, wishing for just 1 second of quiet that didn't ache. Inside, the overheads flickered. A shopping cart sat abandoned near the bakery. Someone's purse dumped out, coins rolling beneath the shelves. A phone chiming with a cartoon ringtone over and over. The sound made my skin crawl, tinny and offbeat, too cheerful for what was happening. I stepped around spilled milk, glass crunching under my shoe, and saw the first streaks trailing deeper into the aisles. Not just bloody footprints. These were wide, clawing smears, as if someone was crawling or being dragged. A groan echoed from behind the produce section, wet, ragged, impossibly slow. I remembered Jamie's old pink hair tie snapped around my wrist and tried to focus on that, like it could anchor me. I crept forward, phone flashlight trembling in my hand, calling her name in a whisper that barely sounded like my own. "Jamie, you here?" The overhead speakers crackled, then blared that same warning again. "Emergency. Stay away from all supermarkets." But the voice was warped, too deep, almost doubled, like there was another voice riding underneath it, stuttering just out of sync, repeating itself in reverse. That's when I heard the sound, sticky, squelching, like shoes peeling off a theater floor, but heavier. Wrong. I remembered Dad telling us back when Mom still cooked Sunday breakfast how his mother's voice would sound doubled up when she got angry. That scared me as a kid, but it was nothing compared to what I heard now. I stepped into the cereal aisle, breath shallow, pulse hammering. Something moved behind the toppled end cap. Slow, deliberate, a hunched figure gnawing on something I didn't want to see. It turned, neck cricking at a crooked angle, and the thing that used to be Mr. Russo, our old neighbor, looked up with eyes filmed over gray. When it opened its mouth, the doubled voice came out of him. 2 tracks, one forward, one backward, overlapping in a choked, sticky moan. My legs locked. I fumbled for my phone, the ringtone from the lost purse still clinking out that dumb song somewhere behind me. And all I could do was whisper Jamie's name, hoping she'd answer, and not whatever was left crawling in the dark. My fingers wouldn't work. I kept missing the emergency call icon, screen smeared with sweat. The lights stuttered overhead, and that mangled doubled moaning got closer. I dropped the phone. The plastic case cracked against the floor, bouncing once, landing face down near a row of crushed Cheerios. Mr. Russo, or whatever he was now, dragged himself forward, arms at angles that shouldn't bend, face smeared with something thick and black where his jaw split open too wide. He sniffed, a weird hitching sound, like he was trying to recognize me through memory alone. I gagged, thinking of all the times I'd seen him fuss over tomatoes outside his old apartment. Now he just wheezed, twitching his head, listening more than looking. The cartoon ringtone cut out suddenly. Dead silence. I took that second to edge back toward the bakery, shoes sticking in something tacky. My knees shook, every step an argument with gravity. I tried to focus on anything normal, anything safe. The scab on my knee from last week's bike slip, the faded barcode tattoo on my wrist, the way Jamie used to double knot her apron and leave her gum wrappers in my jacket pockets. If I found her, if I could just get to her. A shriek split the quiet. Not a zombie groan, but a real, desperate scream. Jamie. I bolted, heart kicking, skidding around the end of the aisle. I nearly wiped out in a puddle of something sticky and red. The scream came again from behind the locked staff door near the storeroom. I hammered on it, shouting her name, panic fizzing up into raw, ugly noise. From somewhere inside she answered, voice trembling but fierce. "Don't open it. They're everywhere. I'm in the break room. Please." The doubled PA voice blared overhead, louder than before, distorting. "All employees, return to the floor. All customers, stay for inspection." The echoing undervoice was no longer just out of sync. It was mocking, repeating words backward so they didn't sound human at all. I slapped my palm against the door. "Jamie, I'm here. I'm not leaving you." Another shadow shambled across the deli counter, trailing a broken arm that scraped along the glass, making a high-pitched whine. More shapes followed, jerky and wrong, turning toward me as if the speaker's announcement had called them to attention. Their eyes were dead, but their ears twitched at every sound. They moved together, lurching in weird staccato intervals. Stop, start, stop, like a corrupted recording. A memory hit me. Jamie and I fighting over the remote, rewinding our old cartoons until the VHS tape stuttered and snapped. That glitchy, repeating skip in the sound. Now it was real. Now it was here in the way they moved. I pressed my back to the door, desperate. My breath echoed in the tiny dark space between the storeroom and the horde. "Jamie, do you see a way out?" I whispered, voice straining not to break. She hesitated. "I think there's an emergency ladder in the stockroom, but the lock's jammed. I need you." They were coming for me, all at once, jaws working, voices doubling. I scooped up my phone, screen spiderwebbed, and turned to face the mob, searching for anything I could use. My hands closed on the abandoned purse, yanked it open and pulled out a set of keys, a pepper spray canister, and a wallet with a frayed photo of someone else's smiling kids. The keys shook in my hand. I threw the purse, hard, at the nearest creature. It bellowed, both voices splitting, one rising, one sinking, so it sounded like two different people screaming from the same mouth. I jammed the biggest key into the staff door's lock, twisting until my wrist ached. The door clicked. The horde surged forward, faster now, as if my scent had triggered some impossible switch. I hauled the door open and stumbled inside, slamming it behind me. Jamie was there, cheeks streaked with tears and blood, clutching a fire extinguisher like a lifeline. We stared at each other, hearts beating wild. But the doubled voices outside were getting louder, and the lock behind us was already rattling. The only way out now was through the stockroom, if the emergency ladder even existed, and if those things didn't break down the door first. Jamie's arms shook as she set down the extinguisher. We didn't hug. There wasn't time. Instead, she shoved a metal mop handle into my hand, like she needed me armed before she could breathe. Her knuckles were white, and there was a scrape along her jaw that kept dripping pink onto her shirt. I wanted to ask if it was hers or not, but her eyes said, "Don't." We listened, every thud and rattle from the other side of the door, every doubled-up echo from the PA, louder now, as if the system itself was getting impatient. The break room was cramped and sour, all burnt coffee and bleach. A wall clock blinked 12:03, but the second hand ticked backward, then stopped. I stared, brain scrambled, remembering last Christmas, Jamie unwrapping a cheap pink watch, swearing she'd never be late again. Now, time itself felt wrong. I tucked that panic deep, forced myself to focus. "Stock rooms this way," Jamie whispered. We moved, low and quick, past a row of battered lockers. Someone's coat dangled from an open door, the pockets stretched by heavy keys. I tried not to think about whose it was. The air changed as we neared the stockroom. Colder, sharp with the stink of ammonia and something underneath. A rotten tang that crawled into my throat and wouldn't leave. We paused at the metal door. Jamie fumbled for the push bar, but it groaned, stuck fast. The pounding outside got meaner. I wedged the mop handle under the bar and shoved with everything I had. My bad knee screamed, scar tissue from that old bike crash flaring. Jamie put her shoulder in, both of us gasping, the world narrowing to that single awful moment, until the bar snapped loose and we staggered inside, slamming it behind us. The stockroom was chaos. Boxes everywhere, toppled shelves, fluorescent tubes flickering on and off like a dying heartbeat. Somewhere in the back, a thin red light blinked above a steel hatch. Jamie pointed. "That's the ladder," but I didn't need her to finish. The space between us and escape was packed. Shadows twitched between towers of snack boxes, heads turning, bodies moving in fractured little loops. Some stood totally still, noses raised, listening. Others rocked, shoulders juddering, as if rewinding some memory we couldn't see. Every time the PA crackled, they jerked, movements spiking in perfect, stuttering unison. I glanced at the wall of cleaning supplies, grabbing a heavy glass spray bottle. Jamie found a box cutter. She was trembling, but her grip was steady. "You ready?" I nodded, though every cell in me screamed to run. We moved together, ducking behind pallets, hearts wild. The stench grew, fermented sugar, sweat, copper. A sudden burst of static from the PA, so loud it rattled my teeth. Escape attempt detected. Return to the floor. Return to the floor. Underneath, that backward voice now almost clear. "Law et guort tuoteg, reven las uoi." A shape lunged from behind a crate, too fast. I swung the bottle, shattering it against a skull. Liquid splashed, the scent of ammonia so sharp it made my eyes water. Jamie slashed with the cutter, clearing a path. Hands grabbed at my jacket, nails raking skin. I rammed the mop handle into another face, felt bone give. My stomach lurched, bile burning. Jamie screamed my name, voice slicing through the chaos. We reached the hatch. It was bolted with a thick chain, the lock massive. My heart plummeted. Jamie dug into her apron pocket. Somehow, by pure luck, she had a key. Her hand shook as she jammed it in, turned, and the lock snapped open. The hatch creaked, red light spilling onto our shoes. Behind us, the zombies surged, voices peaking, the doubled noise now a shrill, garbled chant. Jamie yanked the hatch open, shoving me forward. I scrambled onto the ladder, knees burning, sweat stinging my eyes. Jamie slammed the hatch behind us just as the first set of hands slapped the metal. The entire thing shook. Above, the ladder vanished into darkness, the air up there even colder, smelling of rust and old rain. I climbed, Jamie right behind me, every footstep echoing, the hatch below buckling under fists. Up here, the chanting voices faded for a moment, replaced by a new sound. Slow, deliberate footsteps pacing somewhere in the dark above us. Someone, or something, was already up here, waiting. Don't miss the next chapter. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you're first to hear the next emergency warning.